Get all the things in a row. Don't ask me how I did it. I just did it. It was hard.
Stop the battlements of Castle Curmudgeon, where I admit here tonight, in the presence of you fine people, that I only hired Jim Eagle because he's a half-blind, one-legged, asexual Native American. Good evening, Mr. and Mrs. America, and all ships at sea. Welcome to the Blast Radius. So glad you could join us this evening. Here is your Decline of Western Civilization news roundup for the work week ending Friday, 17 May, 2024. Dateline, Washington, Monday, 13 May. You know, it seems like practically each week we ask ourselves, could things possibly get worse for the California cackler? And each week, right on cue, the universe says, hold my beer. Vice President Kamala Harris is undergoing a brand new image makeover, as you may have heard. And if you're keeping score at home, yes, this is at least the 10th one of those in just the last, 3.5 years? And her people have either all quit or they are so completely out of ideas that the only thing they have managed to come up with for Kamala Image Makeover Spring 2024 edition was, how about if we just have her start swearing in public? And so it was that Kamala Harris, while addressing something called the Asian Pacific American Institute for Congressional Studies Legislative Leadership Summit, sounds like a wild party, doesn't it? In a moment that was supposed to appear organic and spontaneous, but was very obviously scripted and pre-planned, declared the following, and I'm going to read out the entire larger quote so that you can revel in the glory that is Kamala Harris's intellect. Quote, so here's the thing about breaking barriers. Breaking barriers does not mean you start on one side of the barrier and you wind up on the other side. There's breaking involved. And when you break things, you get cut and you may bleed. And it is worth it every time. And here comes the coup de grace. We have to know that sometimes people will open the door for you and leave it open. Sometimes they won't. And then you need to kick that fucking door down. End quote. And then she cackled like a drunken witch for about 15 seconds, as she tends to do. But hold on, Cap, you ruggedly rapacious rapscallion, I hear you say. Kamala Harris said this? You mean the same Kamala Harris who's been the recipient of more unwarranted professional advancement than possibly any human being who has ever lived? The Kamala Harris that future historians will likely point to as a cautionary tale of how totally absurd things can get when you unshackle upward mobility from skills and experience and work ethic and temperament and start allocating political power according to external physical characteristics. Kamala Harris, the childless 50-year-old spinster who married a dude with adult children just so she could pretend to be their mom? Which I'm sure totally isn't offensive to their real mom. That Kamala Harris? That one? She's actually got the temerity and the crippling lack of self-awareness to be giving lectures about breaking barriers and kicking doors down? You're freaking serious right now? Yes, dear viewer. Afraid so. Serious as a heart attack. From Maine to Montana to South Carolina, she's the only VP with a goddamn vagina. From Frisco to Memphis to Old Oxford town, slam a door in her face, she will kick that shit down. I better stop before I turn the whole 90-minute live stream into a freestyle ringside introduction. God damn it, Jim Eagle. You're supposed to shock me with the electric cattle prod when I prattle on too long like that. What the fuck do I pay you for? Dateline Chapel Hill, Tuesday, 14 May. In the first of what's likely to be a fairly incessant barrage of such stories over the course of the next few years or so, the trustees of the University of North Carolina voted this week to end immediately, with extreme prejudice, any and all diversity, equity, and inclusion programs that currently exist at that august institution. According to a report from Fox News, quote, the unanimous decision by the trustees will reallocate $2.3 million that the university spends on DEI programs toward police and public safety measures as part of its annual budget approval process, end quote. So granted, UNC obviously isn't a very big fish in the DEI pond. I mean, 2.3 million is pretty small potatoes in the grand scheme of the race huckster industrial complex. I bet places like Brown and Cal, Berkeley, and Harvard spend 100 times that much on their DEI departments and the bureaucracies they have lovingly shepherded into existence around them and the magnificent gleaming cathedrals they have built to house them in. But the wave has crested, y'all. I know you don't want to hear that. I know people who have spent their whole lives and livelihoods getting wrapped up in this scam, but let's just put it this way. If the life trajectory you are planning for yourself is to get a queer black studies degree and a women of color studies degree with a minor in paraplegic transgender Eskimo studies, and then you're going to spend your whole career in various fabulously well-paid faculty positions in the DEI departments of a series of highly prestigious universities, you may want to learn a skilled trade, just as a backup, is all I'm saying. And you know what the straw was that broke the back of the DEI camel? And I guess it's fitting that this all comes down to a camel analogy. It was when all the normie parents watched the Arab Spring Break on television, because it's easy to be oblivious as a parent sometimes, as your kids are being inculcated with some of the world's worst ideas all the way from kindergarten to elementary school to junior high to high school. Right up until the moment you see your 19-year-old honor student daughter cosplaying on television as a Hamas suicide bomber. After that, it's just never quite as easy to look the other way anymore. After that, your average oblivious normie parent might just be shocked into thinking, I think I'm not entirely sure I'm cool with paying for all this. I think, in fact, I might actually vote for Trump. Dateline Gross-Outville, Wednesday, 15 May. Now, at first glance, you might view it as a step in the right direction when I tell you that this year, Sports Illustrated is going to return to putting an actual female on the cover of the swimsuit edition, rather than a woman-faced minstrel in a lady's swimsuit with his junk tucked back, which has been their habit in recent years. Can't imagine why those sales numbers have crashed so badly, guys. It's a real mystery. But don't get yourself too encouraged, because the other shoe is about to drop when I tell you the female cover model is the 69-year-old CBS morning host Gayle King. Now, first things first. Does she look pretty good for age 69? I guess. Though the cover photo that they have released is so heavily airbrushed, it may have actually crossed the line from photograph to digital painting. But whether she looks good or bad for her age is not the point. The point is that no 69-year-old woman should be doing sexy photo shoots in a swimsuit, because 69-year-old women are not supposed to be sexy. No young man of reproductive age ever looked at any 69-year-old woman in any context and said, yeah, baby, that's what I'm talking about. And you know how I know that? Because I used to be a young man of reproductive age, and when I was one of those, in my adolescent years in particular, the Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition was arguably the most important print publication of the entire year. If you were a boy or a young man of a certain age, you acquired yourself a copy of that magazine by any means necessary every year. And in one of the years in that period, I can't remember if it was 89 or 90 or 91, but somewhere in there, they brought back Cheryl Tiegs to do a photo shoot at the very advanced age of 42. And did she look good for being 42? Of course she did. She looked freaking great. But did that matter to me as a 15 or 16-year-old boy? No, it grossed me the hell out because that chick is the same age as my mom. Women in their 40s are not supposed to be sexy. There is an age in your life for being sexy, and that's not it. Are you listening, Madonna? Because I think you probably need this talk more than Gayle King does. If you're old enough to have a goddamn AARP card, stop trying to be a sex object. You're not one. It's just freaking disgusting. Nobody wants to see their grandmother's vulva on Instagram. In fact, nobody wants to see anybody's grandmother's vulva on Instagram. I guarantee you, literally no one. The SI swimsuit edition used to be a major cultural institution because it stuck by a simple formula. We take the most beautiful young women in the world, we dress them in the sexiest swimsuits, and we photograph them in the world's most exotic locations. Now it seems to be dedicated to helping senior citizens and transvestites live their truth and feel good about themselves. So best of luck, SI. And again, no idea why those sales numbers are in the tank. Dateline Washington, Thursday, 16 May. Attorneys general in 18 states, led by Tennessee, filed suit against the Biden administration this week, saying the federal government, through the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission and the Justice Department, is illegally imposing its pro-transgender rules upon private companies and their employees, saying the new executive rules seek, quote, to enshrine sweeping gender identity mandates without congressional consent, end quote. A recently issued enforcement document from the EEOC unilaterally declares that Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1965, quote, requires all covered employers and employees to use others' preferred pronouns, to allow transgender individuals to use the shower, locker room, or restroom that corresponds to their gender identity, and to refrain from requiring employees to adhere to the dress code that corresponds to their biological sex, end quote. All of which would probably come as one hell of a shock to the guys who wrote the Civil Rights Act of 1965. I'm guessing they would be pretty taken aback to learn they were enshrining in law that if your male employee declares himself a woman, you have to let him use the ladies' room. Joining Tennessee Attorney General Jonathan Skrmetti in the lawsuit are the Attorneys General of Alabama, Alaska, Arkansas, Georgia, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Mississippi, Missouri, Nebraska, Ohio, South Carolina, South Dakota, Utah, West Virginia, and Virginia. Skrmetti said in a statement, quote, in America, the Constitution gives the power to make laws to the people's elected representatives, not to unaccountable commissioners, and this EEOC guidance isn't a separation of powers, end quote. And of course, he is absolutely correct. But here's the thing. The wokesters know they're probably going to be out of power soon. And they might be out of power for a good long time, ideally forever. So they're going to ram down as much of this crap as they possibly can between now and next January 20th. And they are not going to trouble themselves unduly with any concerns about propriety or constitutionality. And I, for one, can't wait to see the list of pardons that Joe issues on his final day in office. Remember all those sleazy criminals that Bill Clinton pardoned on his last day? I bet this list makes that list look dignified by comparison. And I bet at least half a dozen of the people on the list are named Biden. Dateline Kansas City, Friday, 17 May. After a week in which the biggest contrived firestorm of made-up social controversy was over a Catholic guy saying a bunch of Catholic things at a Catholic school, Kansas City Chiefs place kicker Harrison Butker has received the support of exactly one of his teammates. Just the one, which is really stunning and brave when your teammate and coworker is being targeted for destruction by the woke rage mob, and a grand total of one freaking guy is willing to publicly stand behind him. That is where we are now as a society. But what did Harrison Butker say that was so controversial? Beats the hell out of me. Really, I listened to the entire speech more than once, And as a man with no dog in the religion race, I didn't even hear him say one thing I disagree with. If he had given the same speech 25 years ago, he would have been hailed as the exemplar of an ideal sensitive male feminist. How did I first hear about this story? From seeing headlines from your usual suspect online fake news sludge factories. Headlines that said things like, misogynist Chiefs kicker says women's only place is in the kitchen. But did he say that? Did he intimate that? Did he imply anything remotely resembling that? No, of course he didn't. And would it be offensive if he had? No, it wouldn't. He said to the young women in the audience that while some of them will surely accomplish great things in their professional careers, for most of them, the most important and gratifying vocations they will ever have are wife and mother. And if we are really in a place where saying something as self-evidently true as that is cause for a nationwide woke ragegasm, maybe we really are doomed. And moreover, if our friends on the left are so bent on intellectual world domination that they can't even countenance a Catholic guy saying Catholic things to a room full of other Catholics, they should really stop calling themselves tolerant, because they're just about the most goddamn intolerant people that ever lived. You know, I'm old enough to remember when the central premise of feminism was the idea that women should have the same range of life choices that men do. Meaning, at least one would think, that they should still get to retain the option of being wives and mothers and homemakers if that is what they want to do. But it seems like in practice, feminism has only sought to remove that option and force all young women into the college career pipeline, whether they want that or not. And it's not difficult to see why, as a matter of political calculation. Women who live the traditional life of wife, mother, homemaker, they don't have much reason to adopt a socially liberal political worldview. They are much more likely to be churchgoers. They don't get that many abortions, and they don't spend that much money on therapy and birth control. But if you get them onto that university campus and start pumping that sweet leftist rage grievance heroin into their veins, then you have got them on the assembly line to being bitterly unhappy, single, 30-something, borderline alcoholic, urban apartment dwellers with 9 cats who work middle management HR jobs at the local widget factory and can't understand why they aren't gaining happiness and fulfillment from the anonymous sexual encounters they engage in with random dudes from the bar each weekend, who engage in passionate activism on behalf of every current thing that comes down the pike, who take all the most fashionable antidepressants and tranquilizers, but still wind up depressed and non-tranquil. Because that's a woman who will always and forever vote for the Democrats. The stay-at-home mom who sings in the church choir? Not so much. I'm just saying, if you think there was no deliberate attempt at social engineering being undertaken 30 years ago, when the Treasury Department went all in on federal underwriting of student loans, and the Education Department at the same moment adopted national guidelines for high schools that said, everybody goes to college now, high school is 100% college prep, henceforth and forever, then I'm sorry, but you're just far too trusting. And I feel like this was a freakishly long roundup this week. You see what happens when I write the damn thing on Saturday with no time pressure? Anyway, that is the merciful end of the week that was. May it rest in peace. And now I lob a half-court alley-oop pass to the man who slams it home and shatters the living hell out of the backboard and stands there flexing like a total badass as the broken glass crashes around him in slow motion. Your illustrious host, my distinguished colleague, the man who is to large furry hominids what Black George Washington is to America, your friend of mine, the one and only Mr. Caucasian Sasquatch!
Tactical nuke incoming!
Captain Curmudgeon's not phoning it in this week. That's good to know. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Blast Radius, where this week we're going to take a look at a handful of memes that I've got picked out over here. We're going to investigate Florida Man, which I have picked out over here, and we've got a guest backstage. I'm going to bring him right up here to have a chit chat. So, Midlife Bro Logic, welcome to the show, bro. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. I'm feeling a bit intimidated after that monologue. I mean, he just brought it home. It was so good I had to take notes, people. Okay, so for those of you sitting in the back, make sure you take notes. I mean, where can I even begin with this great monologue? You had me at Kamala Harris, sir. Okay,
right.
And if you are looking for someone who wants to talk about Kamala Harris, you found the right guy. Okay, because I'm on it. But I got some beef with you, sir. You say she didn't earn her position. I say she did. She earned it in the bedroom with Willie Brown, sir, and she did it, and she's still, quote unquote, look at me, friends with Willie Brown to this day. Okay, Willie Brown is 90 years old. If you don't know,
you are correct. She earned her position by climbing up a ladder made out of every penis in Sacramento.
That's the truth. Ain't that the truth? So it may not be the champion we want, but it's the champion we have. And be that as it may, Kamala Harris is the worst thing that ever happened to feminism since feminism itself, in that she is the worst example of how to get ahead by giving head for women. She's going to be your president, sir. Get ready to move to Canada. And just remember, ladies, if you want to be the president of the United States, you know what you got to do. Follow what Kamala Harris did and go to Howard and be an AKA shout out. Also, Joe Biden mentioned her today, mentioned that she went to Howard. Mentioned that she was an AKA during his speech in your state, Caucasian Sasquatch, at Morehouse Black Man College. Okay, yeah. So it's just like, what's going on in the world? I don't know. There's so much going on. One more thing. I don't even know. Just tell me when to stop. But as bad as Kamala Harris is, as horrible as she is for the nation, as a horrible of an example of what women should look up to, right? I fully support her becoming the president right this second, because Joe Biden is an old man who needs to go into a nursing home. This is like a fallen flag, upside down flag America. Kamala Harris is a better choice for president than Joe Biden right this second. So I'm ready for it. If we get an announcement right now that Kamala's the president, I fully support it. That's what's up, because Joe Biden is that bad. What else can I say? Especially
if your deciding criterion is the ability to successfully ambulate across 10 feet of flat level ground.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes. I mean, that's the basics, right? It's like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You need to walk across 10 feet of ground without people holding their breath, getting ready to catch you because they're afraid you're going to break a hip, right?
And that is where we are with Joe Biden now. That is, it sounds like an overstatement, but it is not. That is exactly where we are.
Joe Biden is so bad, I'm surprised that he didn't tell the Morehouse men that he graduated from Morehouse today. I watched it. It's a 30-minute speech. It did not disappoint. He didn't make any massive flubs, shockingly. But hey, that's what it is. That's where we're at. What's up?
If there was no Uncle Bozy and no Father Riley last name in it, then I'm not interested, because I can't get a video out of it if he successfully delivers a speech.
I would say they must have got his mix right this time.
That's probably a very important thing in this presidency. As much as we would like that to be a joke, it's not, because we know that drug cocktail is an imperfect thing. Whatever that drug cocktail is that they pump him full of when they need him to be appearing in public for longer than 30 minutes.
Oh my Lord. I don't even want to speculate, man. Like, that guy is obvious when he's doing his full Cornholio stance. You know, when he's doing that Beavis and Butthead thing where he's standing there.
Yeah, generally speaking, you can get about an hour of semi lucidity out of him, but you've got to pump him up with so much mystery drug cocktail that for the first 20 minutes of it, you get angry, bitter, fist shaking grandpa, and nobody likes that.
Not very threatened by it.
Well, let's not forget. Here we go. New York Post, May 18th. This is 2 short days away. Trump demands drug test for Biden before presidential debate. Can you believe this?
Which I absolutely support, and it's the right thing for Trump to say.
Donald Trump demanded on Friday that Joe Biden be drug tested ahead of the 2 presidential debates both candidates have agreed to participate in. The former president cited the incumbent's State of the Union address in March in his call for drug testing, alleging that Biden was high as a kite when he delivered his speech. Man, Trump's been on fire on this campaign trail. He's been giving it to Biden. It's so good. It's so hot. It's so right now. I just want to debate this guy. You know, I'm going to demand a drug test too, by the way, Trump told Republicans during a speech at his GOP dinner in St. Paul, Minnesota. That's pretty dope, man. Could you imagine if the president had to take a drug test ahead of time? What'd you say?
Have you heard the list of things that they're doing for this debate? This is the strangest debate I've ever heard of. They want
it's well, for one thing, it's being done completely outside the auspices of the Commission on Presidential Debates, which means that body is hopefully probably dead now, which would be good for everybody.
Definitely defunct currently, but they're wanting to do it with zero audience, no public.
Well, and of course, the reason Biden's people don't want to do it under the auspices of the commission is because the commission would probably want Bobby Kennedy to be on the stage, and that is the absolute last thing that Biden's people want under any circumstances.
I see that. There's supposed to be distinct breaks between the individual questions. They're going to do like a question and then bounce back and forth between the debaters and then cut to commercial and then come back. That's how it was explained to me. And I'm like, that's wild.
But wait a minute. Let's be honest. Let's be fair. Let me put my bias for Joe Biden on the side, right? And let me speak freely and honestly. Remember the first debate with Trump and Biden? I mean, Trump was kind of a douche, right? Trump was just like sorry, I live in Baltimore. He
didn't handle that debate well.
He didn't follow the rules. It was just like this, one of these beatdowns when you get up on these panels and people just talk over you and stuff. It's like, that's not good. So Trump was a bad boy.
I thought in both of those debates, he far too often forgot the first rule of politics, which is when your opponent wants to go out there and step on a bunch of rakes and make a complete ass of himself, don't freaking interrupt him.
Right. Yeah.
Do you reckon the breaks are going to be for the IV drip to catch up? I mean,
I feel like I should make a Jack Kevorkian joke, but I can't think of one.
I was trying my best to figure out what can you do in a 4-minute, 5-minute break that makes it worthwhile to break up a debate that completely. That is
like Angelo Dundee is going to come in from the corner and get him ready for the next round.
Come on,
all right, baby, you gotta keep going to the body, and then the left hook. You're doing great, baby.
You do that far too well.
get him to spit in the bucket, clean out his mouth guard.
Oh wow! So I got some Florida Man headlines over here. Is there anything else in the current events y'all want to go over?
Yeah, I have my list. I mean, how much time do we have? Can I go down what it's all?
We've got another hour. We're at the 30-minute mark. Which is
fire away.
Okay, this.
Give me the money. Give me the money. Okay.
And if we were like monetized and stuff, that would be the point in time where I would.
Hey, some of us are monetized.
Yeah.
Anybody here can send me a super chat right now, and I'll prove it.
Awesome. Right? Speaking of monetization, newsflash: I got my 500 subs and 3,000 watch hours. I'm under review. And I'm honestly scared because if I don't get monetized, I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. So if there's anyone out there that wants to say a prayer for my super chat monetization.
Is it 500 subs now?
It is now.
No, it's a lower tier. You can get super chats, but not watch hours, which it would be nice.
I had to get all the way to 1,000 before I got jack shit.
Yeah. Yeah, no, but you're an old school YouTuber, and that's something I've been trying to bring you out of, is that mentality of being in your little box, doing your little thing. I get it. You enjoy it. It's fun. You seem to have a blast doing it. And I fully support it. I'm here for it. 10 toes down. I just think it needs a little sprinkle and jiggle the handle a little bit. That's all. We'll make it work. You just got to work it out.
That's what Harmony Unleashed is for.
Oh my God. Have I told you about Harmony Unleashed midlife?
I don't know what that is.
Oh,
I sent him a cryptic comment before.
There's a couple of months ago, we were having the conversation about AI scripts and whether or not Wish was AI written and generated. And I came to the conclusion that the plot was almost definitely done by an AI because it's totally bonkers. But beyond that, we decided to look into how difficult it would be to create what's the phrase? A Disney
No,
series.
the origin of Harmony Unleashed is I went onto GPT and I typed in, give me the pilot episode of a Disney Plus show about a strong, powerful woman of color who don't need no man for nothing. And we've got 3 seasons of Harmony Unleashed now.
Yeah. And I spent a little time going to get some AI art and stuff. Are you being chased by large Mad Max villains?
I'm sorry, I'm muted. You know, I live in Baltimore, and all these people on their motorcycles, they just can't give us peace, right? And you know, Brandon Scott, you know, Baltimore's a problem. Sorry, I'm muted.
How often
Did you guys get that bridge debris cleaned up yet?
We're working on it, but guess what? The sailors are still in the ship. But let me get back to your monologue here, if I could.
Go for it.
This Gayle King thing, right? I kind of have mixed emotions about this, right? I don't like older women out here busting it open, bending over. Hey, look at me. I'm J-Lo. Look at my butt. It's big and round. You know, it's like, I get it, J-Lo. We've been looking at your butt for 20, 30 years, okay? And now that P. Diddy's back in the news, it's like, yeah, now you're kind of back in the news because we always kind of put you two together one way or another, right? And it's kind of like, when are these women going to grow up, right? Even like the ex-mayor of Baltimore, she's out here. She's not the mayor anymore. She's getting plastic surgery. She's busting it open. She's bending over. She's showing her boobs. It's just like, aren't you supposed to go through that like super hoe phase back in your 20s when you're that 20-year-old little number? And apparently there's like no age limit now, and they go crazy. But there's 2 instances where I find it socially acceptable for women over 40, right, to dress, for lack of a better term, slutty, right? Of course, it's Halloween, right? We need sexy cats, sexy witches. All that stuff is cool, right? It's cool as long as you're not around kids, obviously. And then there's like swimsuits in the beach, you know? That's okay. As far as them putting it on Sports Illustrated and kind of ruining it, I mean, Sports Illustrated, it's kind of, it's a magazine. First off, does anyone even read that anymore?
No, not in print form. So it's a sinking ship, no matter how you slice it, really.
Absolutely, but I don't know. You said some things like, "Oh, she's so old. She's so this. She's so that," and it's like, I don't know. I mean, I'm 47, and you're saying that women are old when they're 40. If I look at a 40-year-old, it's like, wow, who's the hot young chick at this point? Now that I'm older, maybe I'm looking at it in a different light, perhaps. But I'm going to have to check that
but
out.
But in the context of the Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition, I mean, from my perspective as a man who has grown up with that cultural institution being what it used to be, I just want to see a beautiful young woman in an exotic place in a nice photograph on that cover, and I don't think that's a whole hell of a lot to ask for, frankly.
I guess it is. Quickly, who's your favorite Sports Illustrated swimsuit model? Mine's Marissa Miller. Thanks for asking.
Elle Macpherson, hands down, no contest.
Elle Macpherson, overrated. Sasquatch, go.
No clue.
No clue. Okay.
We're not going to accept no clue.
I don't know the name.
At least just say Paulina Poroskova.
That would probably be acceptable. I'd probably
Carol Alt, baby.
But listen. Look on
Kathy Ireland.
I was thinking Kathy Ireland. Quite honestly, when you asked, I couldn't remember for sure if she was one, and I didn't want to look stupid. But yeah.
She was one.
Yeah. But hold on. In their defense, yeah, you're right. This is horrible. This is unacceptable.
It's not good.
69-year-old woman on Sports Illustrated. Yeah. But at least she doesn't have a penis. And at least she's not obese. So
it's true. Like I said, on the one hand, you can view it as a step in the right direction, as a return to putting actual females on the cover. So I guess baby steps, right?
I kind of have an issue with the at least approach. Sports Illustrated is not supposed to be an at least magazine.
Well, what is the bastion
Exactly.
of femininity now? They took Victoria's Secrets away from us. They put fatties and trannies in. Now we got 69-year-old women on Sports Illustrated. Like, where are we supposed to look for non-porn hotties? Like, seriously.
You know what
Exactly. And that's really all that's being asked for. And it's not an outlandish request, I don't think.
How can I do this? How can I start some type of online thing for aspirational hotties? Do you know what I mean? In to the tune of the 90s and late 80s, early 90s, Victoria's Secret and Sports Illustrated.
Yeah, like I just want to look at hot women who are not jamming something up their butthole. You know?
My issue I have with this entire agenda and the entire takeover of the cultural warfare by this weird left-wing Marxism that seems to have been trotted out. It's the doubt. It's the doubt that has been embedded in every man's spirit now. You cannot look at a chick across a room and know for a fact what you're dealing with anymore. You have
you are pretty much not allowed to express any sort of appreciation of a woman's looks without being called a rapist or a monster or a patriarch or choose your woke buzzword here.
Unless you're Brad Pitt or whatever.
Yes, Leonardo DiCaprio can get away with it.
Yes, for us normies.
And as far as the fat Victoria's Secrets models, I like them.
She raises a salient point though, because Victoria's Secret is also pulling back from their woke excesses of the last half decade or so. It appears, at least. Yeah, they apparently have gone back to hot women in underwear. You never would have thought you could screw up that formula, but they managed to.
Here's the thing. It's who's that singer? Rihanna, of course, is a singer, and she invented some type of underwear called Savage Fenty or something, and she shows like bigger models. And like, look, I get it. Most girls don't look like Victoria's Secret supermodels, so they want to know what their bodies will look like in this lingerie, and I support that, right? But for the runway, can we keep the fatties off the runway at least? Do you know what I'm saying? You can have like a
and then there is a and it's not just female beauty either. There is a relentless campaign for the last several decades to inculcate people with the idea that pretty things are actually ugly and ugly things actually look good. We see it in art. We see it in architecture. You know, not just in human aesthetics. That might be the place where it's most screamingly obvious. But it's a multifaceted campaign, and it's really an assault on everything that is by a traditional definition aesthetically pleasing.
And shout out to this comment: aren't there like million young female hotties on Instagram? I don't know, because I'm not there thirst trapping for chicks on Instagram. Maybe there is. I haven't looked. Maybe I should. Thanks for the advice. I only use Instagram for educational purposes, of course. That's what's up. Oh, here comes the motorcycle gangs in Baltimore. Can you hear it?
Right. I'm here for it, dude. I can't wait.
Hold on, I can't.
If they're bringing crab cakes, I'm in favor of it.
Damn right.
Okay, I'm back. Yeah, it's like Mad Max in Baltimore. Like for real. It's just nonstop.
Wow.
Actually,
so are you like right in the city center then?
Yes. Well, not center, but I'm in the city. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
Juliet Porter. Oh, okay. Let's check that out. I don't mind if I do. Thanks for the hot tip. That's what's up. Yeah. So, Sports Illustrated. It's a loss, but not a total loss. What else can we talk about? Let me just say one more thing from your genius monologue, sir. And there were so many fire takes there. I think the thing that I liked the best, or one of my favorites, was depressed and non-tranquil. That was great. That came off of something about medicating women or something of that nature. It was great.
Yeah, they take all the most fashionable antidepressants and tranquilizers and come out depressed and non-tranquil.
Yes, that's great. It sounds like it could be a song, perhaps. Anyways, So thank you for that.
Don't tempt me.
Yeah, no, he'll do it.
I think I'm ready
Okay,
for the
so
next.
you got anything else on your little sparkly sheet there?
It's just worth mentioning. Biden spoke at Morehouse today. I mean,
Right.
what a joke that was. Of course, he's getting up there and just
bringing that up, but when I
What?
looked at it, I had considered bringing it up for us to look at, but when I went and looked at it, it was a whole bunch of him just repeating the same phrases he's been saying, trying to say. So
Yeah, I haven't heard any of it, but it's probably par for the course, I expect.
yeah, it's right
it's
now.
just him talking about slaves and racist white people at Morehouse in Georgia, which of course is the only black male college.
Well, it
all
is.
Well,
right now,
and
Paul.
it's a subject on which he has an intimate knowledge, since he is the last living segregationist senator.
I hate it when you're right about things.
Wait a minute. What?
He was yeah.
I don't know. I don't know about that. This factually, but
Tell him.
Well, he said on the floor of the Senate in 1973 that he doesn't want his constituents to
jungle?
have the racial jungle. Yep.
yes, that's scrubbed. By the way, I can't find that clip anymore. Do you? Can you find
Really?
the clip? You can't. It's
I
gone.
might have a copy of it actually.
Please somehow send it to me because it's gone. You can only find like articles about it. It's not anywhere. To
Well,
be found.
I'm
it was
surprised
dead.
it took them that long to memory hole it. To be honest with you.
It's gone. It's a shame. And this Morehouse speech was horrible. And there wasn't enough protests, in my opinion. A few of the dudes sat backwards, so shout out to them. But I wish there was more.
Were there any Arab Spring breakers trying to break it up?
Nothing during. There was a few on the outside, but nothing major there. Or maybe
This
they.
guy did an on the scene report from a pro Palestinian rally in Johns Hopkins. No, well,
Yeah,
yes.
it seems like the Arab Spring break has lost a bit of steam in the last week or so.
Well, I saw your show when you were talking about them, so we were just diametrically opposed on this. I think you're like a controlled Zionist who believes Fox News too much. I think you're wrong on this. Listen, if you don't support these protesters, guess what? All these Palestinians are coming to America, and I don't want that. Okay, I don't want that. So let's support the protesters. Let's support them because I don't like the fact that the Zionists are in control of America. And you can't call me you can't call me racist anymore. You can't call me a white supremacist anymore because it is so obvious. It is so obvious. Israelis live at a higher standard of living than us. They have Medicare for all. We don't. We're giving all of their money to them. I know. It goes back to the military-industrial complex. So miss me with that, right? But why not fund these big companies to just come and fix America, right? Like, hey, stop building bombs. Just fix Baltimore, right? Just fix Baltimore and we'll overpay you for that too. Like, why not? Why not? Why do we have to go fix these other countries? Why does Greg Abbott sit up there on the stage with all these Israeli flags talking about this and that? They're trying to cut back on our First Amendment rights that we can't even read the Bible at this point, apparently, because we can't say who put Jesus up on that cross. I mean, this is like stuff that's really happening in today. This is insane. People say Russia's the bad guy. I say America's the bad guy. Shout out to El Cheapo. Thanks for pulling up. That's what's up. And shout out.
I
to
need to
those
walk you back
protesters.
a few steps to the. Did you accuse me of being a Fox News viewer?
Well, it's not like an affirmative kind of thing. It just kind of threw it out there. Like,
Okay,
when you're talking about
I'm
these
just checking
protesters-
because that made my ears perk up nice and tall.
Okay.
I got a Florida man list of Florida man arrests made. Florida man wins election in a card game. Apparently that's the thing that happened. I don't know how that's possible.
What happened? Say this again.
Florida man wins election in a card game.
I mean, am I supposed to pick or I mean, what is this? This is like clickbait. What's going on here?
Some of this is kind of clickbaity, but the thing is Florida has something called sunshine laws. And sunshine laws mean that anything processed by the police is public information. And that's why you end up with so many wild Florida man stories, is absolutely everything goes across the desk of somebody that has a bone to pick with a cop somewhere. So Florida man tries trading live gator for beer. Apparently these things happen. I might have accepted the gator. I am planning on filming a movie. It's called Meth Gator.
This is where freedom of information leads us.
Right. So there was this one dude in Florida who apparently was fishing, and he caught a grenade. And his response to catching a grenade was to take it to the Taco Bell, where he could really blow up that bathroom.
Wait, what did you say? Grenade and Taco Bell?
Hand grenade. He caught a hand grenade while fishing.
Is he magnet fishing?
It doesn't specify, but his response.
Last time I caught a grenade, I threw it right back at that German that tried to give it to me.
So I don't know if you know this, but grenade is like a sexual term from, I think, Jersey Shore. Are you familiar with this?
I did not know that.
I think it means like ugly chick that you have to lay on top of to protect your friends. It's like you have to have sex with the ugly girl so your friends can have sex with the good-looking girls. I think. I don't know. Maybe someone in the chat knows. I'll look it up.
I've been in the same relationship since 1989, so I'm not really up on the latest single-person lingo.
Okay, I'll look it up for you though. But grenades and Taco Bell, and this is not like a poop joke. Okay, but let's keep going. I guess
it absolutely was a poop joke. I made the poop joke.
Oh, I think I'm just confused.
I mean,
that's my co-host.
I also laugh at farts, but maybe that. Deputies. Florida man arrested with guns, drugs, and a baby alligator. It's kind of wondering if they.
That sounds like a fun weekend in Tallahassee, right there.
Right? Wow! Just stop it.
I'm actually glad the word alligator is on the end of that headline, and it's not just baby.
Yeah, actually, we should look at the bright side of this particular.
Yes, look at the bright side of this thing. Is all I'm saying.
Oh wow, that's the dude.
Oh, she looks like a real piece of work, doesn't she?
That's a man, or is that a trans? What is that?
I'm unsure. This is undetermined, as yet determined.
I'm pretty sure that's a female with a lantern jaw like Gary Cooper.
I think it's a dude.
Big old Adam's apple.
It could be. It's difficult to tell sometimes anymore.
I'm pretty sure it's
especially in the women's prison.
Dog poop gives
So,
Miami Robber
I
away.
actually caught this headline when it came out. The backstory behind this one: dog poop gives away Miami robber. Here's how: when he was running away with the money, he slipped on a pile of dog poop and got it on his shirt. He was able to get rid of the poop on his shoe, but the poop on his shirt remained. So whenever they found him in a crowd of other people, they basically just walked over and picked up the guy that smelled like dog poop. Which,
wow,
that's grade A police work.
Yeah, yeah, that is solid investigative tactics right there.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
The story would have been better if they had to take the poop to a lab and like genetically match it with like a little bit of
a specific dog.
Yeah, a specific dog.
There's a 1 in 950 billion likelihood that this poop didn't come from Fido.
And he needs more fiber. Florida man blames paranormal activity for driving car with 2 missing tires. I'm actually digging up the video of this guy's arrest. He said he had been cursed and now his car didn't drive right, but he did not have tires on his rims.
I bet Stormy Daniels believes him because she talks to dead people.
Obviously.
And Joe Biden shakes hands with him.
Well, okay.
No, that's not strictly correct. He shakes hands with ghosts, not corpses. He is a corpse who shakes hands with ghosts.
This dude. is riding down the road on nothing but rims. The right side of the car has tires. The left side does not. Rims.
He doesn't even realize it. He's that.
I believe in New York they call that a Puerto Rican sparkler.
Pretty sure that's racist.
Pretty sure.
We're not getting taken down tonight, though. Not this time. It'll be next time, you know.
That's why we should play the Black George Washington video. God damn it!
Oh man,
Can we hear him or not?
On the outro. Well, now I've got it muted so we can talk over it.
Variety test, which
Because
failed. And
Homie
Ben
just
got
has some AI talking over the video. Now, you see this gentleman riding down the road on two tires.
I see that face
He
tattoo.
looks like
and I immediately
he's
know
the
he's
bastard
guilty.
love child of Jon Snow and Roman Reigns.
I was thinking more along the lines of like Ed Gain and Ramirez, but okay.
Okay, yeah, I can see a tiny bit of Night Stalker in there. I gotcha.
I feel like there's some definite Night Stalker vibes here.
I was looking mostly at the hair, admittedly.
I can see it. But yeah, can you imagine this guy trying to pick up your daughter at the bar?
I'm sure he'll make you very happy one day, sweetie.
Yeah, no. Face tattoo is just an immediate no for everything. Like,
Yeah,
just no.
I totally want that guy to be my grandkid's dad.
I mean, I hear you, but sometimes that chick with the face tattoo's just the one.
Oh God.
Oh my God! Speaking of face tattoos, have you guys seen that video of the chick crying in her car? She's got like an actual big goat head Satan tattoo on her neck right here, and she's got like shit all over her face and like a javelin through her nose and all this other metal shit through her mouth, and she's crying into her phone in her car in some parking lot about how she can't get hired at TJ Maxx. And I'm thinking, sweetheart, when you got the big fucking goat head Satan tattoo right in the middle of the front of your neck, did you think that might possibly have negative professional consequences for you one day?
Well, no, she was going to be an Instagram model.
I mean, it's really sad though. It is really sad. People make mistakes. Lord knows I've made them, but
Well, yeah, it's terribly sad, and you also just have to marvel at the level of obliviousness and stupidity being displayed.
it's tough. But
Sure, for a fat chick.
I guess she can. Tattoo acceptance is increasing, right? Remember, we never had.
I mean, there's a reason. There's a reason why the term face tattoo syndrome exists. And for anybody who doesn't know what face tattoo syndrome is, it means you get a fucking face tattoo because you obviously want other people's attention to be drawn to yourself, because otherwise, why the fuck are you getting a face tattoo? And then you get pissed off and offended when people look at your face tattoo.
I never heard of this. Wow. Is this like
Florida man arrested while
Yes.
trying to warn Space Force about battle between aliens and dragons.
That's my favorite headline I have ever heard in my entire life already.
Homie calls up the Space Defense Force. It explains the whole problem to him.
The whole reason we have a Space Force is to take phone calls like that one, ladies and gentlemen.
Pretty much. I mean, wow.
I guess there's not a Space Force hotline, right? If you see aliens, give us a call. Not yet, at least.
So
I just
and
want to see
look,
what the battle looked like.
there might be actual live footage of it later in this video.
Can a space dragon beat an Earth dragon?
Where's it at? I seen it. I know you did it, bud. There it is. Bam.
Boom. There it is. You found it for me. Best producer in the business.
Real things, bro. So go figure. Everybody's had this scary porta potty thought when you go into the porta john and you're worried that door is not going to open when you try to get out. Well, it happened to this dude. But here's the thing. It wasn't locked and there was nothing in the way. He was just too screwed up to figure out how to get out of it. And he
I've had it
called
happen to me.
I mean, if you have it lost in a porta john.
Granted, it had been flushed out pretty recently, so mostly I just got a bunch of blue shit all over me. But I know there was a couple logs in there somewhere.
Music festivals are why porta potties still exist. I mean, right?
Music fest. What? Porta potties? They're on
Construction?
job sites. Yeah, construction. You need them.
Yeah, I see it.
He looks exactly like a guy who would knock over a porta potty.
Right? Assholes. All right, this is probably my favorite ad, my favorite headline in this whole thing. Yeah, Florida man hides gun in chicken butt.
So I'm a bit of a.
I'd hate to be the butt of that joke.
I'm a bit of a chicken expert, I think, because I had chickens. I don't know if you know this or not. And when they say butt, I'm not sure exactly what they mean, but just in case you don't know, chickens have one hole, and it's called a cloaca.
Yeah.
So they don't pee, they don't piss, they only poop. So they poop and they lay eggs and they have sex through their cloaca. And male chickens, also known as cocks, actually do not have cocks. They only have a cloaca. So when they have sex, it's like lesbian sex, where they put cloaca to cloaca and somehow he busts a nut in there.
What have you been reading?
No,
do we know what manner of firearm was being secreted within the chicken carcass?
Oh yeah, is this a dead chicken or a live chicken? Hold on, now I'm confused.
Yeah, I guess that's the first question we need to ask, isn't it?
I suppose you're right. It doesn't specify at all.
I'm hoping it was a dead chicken because it probably wasn't a great experience if it was a live one.
Right? Oh my Lord. I'll imagine it's a great experience anyway. I mean, I don't care where you stick the gun.
Fair point.
Once it's inside, it's probably not great. So these are some selected by Acorn Stash. You can find him on YouTube. He's got a great voice. Check this dude's voice out.
It's finally here. The underground bunker we've all been waiting for. The website I found this on was claiming that these bunkers were real and up for sale.
I think he should be reading Sam Slade novels.
Yeah, he's got a note perfect sort of snarky sardonic thing going on, and I love it.
Yeah, he's
kind of like you, Captain.
What's
that? Kind of like you, Captain.
I'll take that.
Okay, how many of these have we seen? Pretty in Pink, check. Breakfast Club, check. Short Circuit, Goonies, Weird Science, Lost Boys, Better Off Dead, Trading Places, check. No, this is, yeah, okay. I've watched them all.
Yeah, there's none of those I haven't seen. Those are like the top 20 list of movies that everybody my age has seen.
There's actually a movie not on this list I feel like should be, and I kind of feel bad about it. Breaking 2, The Electric Boogaloo.
You're goddamn right. That's a racist travesty right there.
It is. Do you know why that movie's famous? Why it is in the Hall of Fame, one of the greatest 80s movies of all time?
It doesn't need a reason because it's fucking Breaking 2 Electric goddamn Boogaloo.
You're not wrong, but there's a specific reason. If you go and watch that movie, you will discover in that movie they have the greatest work montage ever filmed.
Yeah, you're right.
It is perfectly, flawlessly edited. It is perfectly put together, and the actual work they're doing looks like freaking work. They're actually doing work. It's the greatest work montage ever.
Naked Ali Sheedy says difficult denizen. You know, when she was a certain age, I wouldn't have minded, but she had a limited window.
That's rough, dude. That's pretty.
I'm just saying.
Okay. Breakfast Club, Ali Sheedy. 'Cause, I mean, you're not. I mean, okay. Breakfast Club, Ali Sheedy. 'Cause, I mean, you're not. I mean, okay. Breakfast Club, Ali Sheedy. 'Cause, I mean, you're not. I mean, okay. Breakfast Club, Ali Sheedy. Who doesn't like the weird chick? Don't lie. All of y'all thought about it. Y'all looked at the back of the class and was like, so what about the weird chick?
Yeah. The chick you look at and say, I've get through some makeup on her. She'd be hot.
Batteries not included should have been on that list. He's correct. He's right. Taping the charts on a Sunday. that's
Should I do some This Week in History since we're at the hour mark?
Yep, that's where that happens. All right, let's rearrange some stuff here. Okay, you're in the right spot. We're doing the right thing. This Week in History, ladies and gentlemen.
And y'all feel free to jump in with any snarky remarks if you feel need. All right.
Yeah.
12 May, 907 AD. Zhu Wen forces Emperor Ai into abdicating, ending the Tang dynasty after nearly 300 years of rule. 1191, Richard I of England, Lionheart to his friends, marries Berengaria of Navarre in Cyprus. She is crowned Queen Consort of England the same day. 1551, National University of San Marcos, the oldest university in the Americas, is founded in Lima, Peru. 1588, the French Wars of Religion. Henry III of France flees Paris after Henry I, Duke of Guise, enters the city and a spontaneous uprising occurs. 1743, Maria Theresa of Austria is crowned Queen of Bohemia after defeating her rival Charles VII, Holy Roman Emperor. 1780, American Revolutionary War. In the worst defeat ever suffered by the Continental Army, Charleston, South Carolina is taken by British forces. 1797, the War of the First Coalition. Napoleon Bonaparte conquers Venice. 1846, the Donner Party of Pioneers departs Independence, Missouri for California on what will become a year-long journey of hardship and cannibalism. 1865, the Battle of Palmito Ranch, the first day of the last major land action to take place during the American Civil War, resulting in a Confederate victory. We had to give him a little participation ribbon. You know how it is. 1926, the Italian-built airship Norga becomes the first vessel to fly over the North Pole. 1937, the Duke and Duchess of York are crowned as King George VI and Queen Elizabeth of the United Kingdom in Westminster Abbey. 1982, during a procession outside the Shrine of the Virgin Mary in Fatima, Portugal, security guards overpower Juan Maria Fernandez y Cron before he can attack Pope John Paul II with a bayonet. Interesting choice of assassination weapon, I think. Right. 2002, former U.S. President Jimmy Carter arrives in Cuba for a 5-day visit with Fidel Castro, becoming the first president of the United States in or out of office to visit the island since the Cuban Revolution. 13 May 1568, Mary Queen of Scots is defeated at the Battle of Langside, part of the civil war between Queen Mary and the supporters of her son, James VI. And if you don't know much about Scottish royal history before the Union of the Crowns in 1603, that's actually how bad it got. Because how many times have you had to fight a battle against your mom? 1780, the Cumberland Compact is signed by leaders of the settlers in the Cumberland River area of what would become the U.S. state of Tennessee, providing for democratic government and a formal system of justice. 1846, the Mexican-American War. The United States declares war on the Federal Republic of Mexico following a dispute over the American annexation of the Republic of Texas and a Mexican military incursion. 1861, Queen Victoria of the United Kingdom issues a very carefully worded proclamation of neutrality, which recognizes the Confederacy as having belligerent rights, but stops short of calling it an actual country. 1862, the USS Planner, a steamer and gunship, steals through Confederate lines and is passed to the Union by a Southern slave, Robert Smalls, who later was officially appointed as captain, becoming the first black man to command a United States ship. 1912, the Royal Flying Corps, the forerunner of the Royal Air Force, is established in the United Kingdom. 1940, Germany's conquest of France begins as the German army crosses the Meuse. Prime Minister Winston Churchill makes his blood, toil, tears, and sweat speech to the House of Commons. 1958, during a visit to Caracas, Venezuela, the U.S. Vice President Richard Nixon's car is attacked by anti-American demonstrators. 1958, a group of French military officers leads a coup in Algiers, demanding that a government of national unity be formed with Charles de Gaulle at its head in order to defend French control of Algeria. 1972, a car bombing outside a crowded pub in Belfast sparks a 2-day gun battle involving the Provisional IRA, Ulster Volunteer Force, and British Army. 7 people are killed and over 66 injured. 1995, Alison Hargraves, a 33-year-old British mother, becomes the first woman to conquer Mount Everest without oxygen or the help of Sherpas. The 14th of May, 1097, the Siege of Nicaea begins during the First Crusade. 1264, the Battle of Lewes. Henry III of England is captured and forced to sign the Mise of Lewes, making Simon de Montfort the effective ruler of England. 1607, English colonists established James Fort, which would become Jamestown, Virginia, the earliest permanent English settlement in the Americas. 1747, the War of the Austrian Succession. A British fleet under Admiral George Anson defeats the French at the First Battle of Cape Finisterre. 1796, Edward Jenner administers the first smallpox inoculation. 1800, the 6th United States Congress recesses, and the process of moving the federal government of the United States from Philadelphia to Washington, D.C. begins the following day. 1804, William Clark and 42 men depart from Camp Dubois to join Meriwether Lewis at St. Charles, Missouri, marking the beginning of the Lewis and Clark expedition's historic journey up the Missouri River. 1878, the last witchcraft trial in the United States begins in Salem, Massachusetts, because where the hell else would it be? After Lucretia Brown, an adherent of Christian Science, accused Daniel Spofford of attempting to harm her through his mental powers. 1948, Israel is declared to be an independent state and a provisional government is established. Immediately after the declaration, Israel is attacked by the neighboring Arab states, triggering the 1948 Arab-Israeli War, which we now lovingly know as the 2024 Arab-Israeli War. 1955, 8 communist bloc countries, including the Soviet Union, sign a mutual defense treaty called the Warsaw Pact. 1973, Skylab, the United States' first space station, is launched. 15 May 392 AD, Emperor Valentinian II is assassinated while advancing into Gaul against the Frankish usurper Arbogast. He is found hanging in his residence at Vienne. 1252. Pope Innocent IV issues the papal bull Ad Extirpanda, which authorizes but also limits the torture of heretics. During the medieval Inquisition, 1618, Johannes Kepler confirms his previously rejected discovery of the third law of planetary motion, which he first discovered on March 8th, but then rejected soon after when he made his first calculations, and then he changed his mind again. Moral of story, that's how freaking science works. 1817, opening of the first private mental health hospital in the United States, the Asylum for the Relief of Persons Deprived of the Use of Their Reason. So if you thought politically correct names were just a modern convention, think again. 1864, the Battle of New Market, Virginia. Students from the Virginia Military Institute fight alongside the Confederate Army to force Union General Franz Sigel out of the Shenandoah Valley. 1905, the city of Las Vegas is founded in Nevada. 1911, in Standard Oil Company of New Jersey versus United States, the U.S. Supreme Court declares Standard Oil to be an unreasonable monopoly under the Sherman Antitrust Act of 1890 and orders the company to be broken up. 1940, the Battle of the Netherlands. After fierce fighting, the poorly trained and equipped Dutch troops surrender to Germany, marking the beginning of 5 years of occupation. 1963, Project Mercury. The launch of the final Mercury mission, Mercury Atlas 9, with astronaut and badass American hero Gordo Cooper on board. He becomes the first American to spend more than a day in space and the last American to go into space alone. 1988. After more than 8 years of fighting, the Soviet army begins to withdraw 115,000 troops from Afghanistan. 2010, Jessica Watson becomes the youngest person to sail nonstop and unassisted around the world solo. Shit, I forgot to put the date on. Okay, 13 May we're on now. 1204. Baldwin IX, Count of Flanders, is crowned as the first emperor of the Latin Empire. 1770, the 14-year-old Austrian Princess Maria Antonia changes her name to Marie Antoinette and marries the 15-year-old Dauphin Louis Auguste, who later becomes Queen of France, and I think you know how that story ends. 1842, the first major wagon train heading for the Pacific Northwest sets out on the Oregon Trail from Elm Grove, Missouri, with 100 pioneers. 1888, Nikola Tesla delivers a lecture describing the equipment which will allow efficient generation and use of alternating currents to transmit electrical power over long distances. And a mere 3 years later, on the exact same date in 1891, The International Electrotechnical Exhibition opens in Frankfurt, Germany, featuring the world's first long-distance transmission of high-power three-phase electric current. 1916, the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland and the French Third Republic signed the secret wartime Sykes-Picot Agreement, partitioning the former Ottoman territories, including Iraq and Syria, an agreement whose effects are still being felt acutely right up until the present day. 1951, the first regularly scheduled transatlantic flights between Idlewild Airport in New York City and Heathrow Airport in London, operated by El Al Airlines. 1966, the Chinese Communist Party issues the 16 May notice marking the beginning of the Cultural Revolution. 1991, Her late Majesty Queen Elizabeth II of the United Kingdom addresses a joint session of the United States Congress. She is the first British monarch to address that august body. 17 May 1527, Panfilo de Narvaez departs Spain to explore Florida with 600 men. In 1536, he returns with 4. 1673, Louis Joliet and Jacques Marquette begin exploring the Mississippi River. 1756, the Seven-Year War formally begins when Great Britain declares war on France. 1814, the Constitution of Norway is signed and Crown Prince Christian Frederick of Denmark is elected King of Norway by the Norwegian Constituent Assembly. 1859, members of the Melbourne Football Club codified the first rules of Australian rules football. 1900, the children's novel The Wonderful Wizard of Oz by L. Frank Baum is first published in the United States. The first copy is given to the author's sister. 1939, the Columbia Lions and the Princeton Tigers play in the United States' first televised sporting event, a collegiate baseball game in New York City. 1954, the United States Supreme Court hands down a unanimous decision in Brown v. Board of Education of Topeka, Kansas, outlawing racial segregation in public schools. 1977, Nolan Bushnell opens the first Chuck E. Cheese's Pizza Time Theater in San Jose, California, and 5 minutes later, the first meth-addicted single mom uses it as a free daycare. 1984, Prince Charles, as he was then, in one of my favorite quotes ever, calls a proposed addition to the National Gallery, London, quote, "a monstrous carbuncle on the face of a much-loved and elegant friend, sparking controversies on the proper role of the royal family in the course of modern architecture." 1995, a story we remember very well around here. Sean Nelson steals an M60 tank from the California Army National Guard Armory in San Diego and proceeds to go on one hell of a rampage. 2007, trains from North and South Korea crossed the 38th parallel in a test run agreed by both governments. This is the first time that trains have crossed the demilitarized zone since 1953. 18 May 1268, the Principality of Antioch, a Crusader state, falls to the Mamluk Sultan Baybars in the siege of Antioch. And 23 years later, on the same date, in 1291, the last and final shoe drops with the fall of Acre, the absolute end of the Crusader presence in the Holy Land. 1652, slavery in Rhode Island is abolished, although the law is not all that rigorously enforced right off the bat. 1783, the first United Empire Loyalists, who are also called traitorous bastard turncoats, reached Partown, Canada, after leaving the United States. 1804, Napoleon Bonaparte is proclaimed Emperor of the French by the French Senate. 1860, Abraham Lincoln wins the Republican Party presidential nomination over William H. Seward, who later becomes the United States Secretary of State and gets stabbed in the face for his trouble. 1896, the United States Supreme Court rules in Plessy v. Ferguson that the separate but equal doctrine is, in fact, constitutional. 1917, the Selective Service Act of 1917 is passed, giving the President of the United States the power of conscription. 1953, Jackie Cochran becomes the first woman to break the sound barrier. 1974, under the code name Project Smiling Buddha, India successfully detonates its first nuclear weapon, becoming the 6th nation to do so. 1994, Israeli troops finish withdrawing from the Gaza Strip, ceding the area to the Palestinian National Authority to govern. 2019, United States presidential election. Joe Biden announces his presidential campaign, declaring that he is the only Democrat who can beat George Bush in 1988. And that's all I have got.
Awesome. I want to point out exactly how much of that crap had to do with the Middle East all the way through it. This is basically what's happening from the dawn of time. You're suddenly sketching out, bro. Like, You're doing stop motion.
With me?
Not him.
Oh,
Having curmudgeon. He's kind of
oh,
might want to do a restart real quick.
I don't even think he heard you. Honestly,
I'm having a spot of computer trouble right now. I think you might have to give me a moment.
Yeah, do your thing. I'll bring you back up when you're done. All right, bro. This is a perfect opportunity for us to discuss what you've got going on with your channel.
I love talking about myself.
Right?
Continue,
Isn't that
please.
the best topic ever?
Yes.
You have recently fallen completely head over heels into a spot of luck or skill or ability or whatever. You picked up how many views on that live stream the other night?
I don't know, man. It's all to you. Thanks to you. It was Dalton,
No.
Tiffany Henyard. I did
You
2
did.
days in a row. I got thousands of views, which is insane. Huh? Hello? 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 Surprise, surprise. Surprise, surprise. All right. Well, I'm just going to start talking. Maybe someone can hear me. I guess
My sound just crashed, but it's back.
Yeah.
Better now.
I can hear the echo on you, like you don't have headphones on or something. No, it sounds better now.
Yeah, no, it just takes it a second to catch back up once it's doing. All right. So what was the big secret on that one? How did you pull that off? What was the thing you think?
I just listened to YouTube's #1 producer, Sasquatch. Complete
Words
obedience.
to live by.
Complete obedience, I guess. I don't know, man. All the cylinders were firing in tune. What's up, Woody? It was right time, right place, right dose. This is like the how to give drugs. The right time, right dose, right place, right person, right method. It was just right there. It was right
All of
on
it.
point.
You nailed it, dude. You had the right thumbnail, her sitting on the hot seat. You had the title, which was a clone of the actual Dalton Town Hall, whatever their title was. You just copy pasted it over. Freaking brilliant.
Oh yeah, I saw that one.
Brilliant. Because when people searched to find the Dalton Town meeting, they found the Dalton Town meeting and then you talking about it. And they had a choice between listening to the terrible sound they had or the terrible sound you had. And it was spot on. I knew that thing was going to fly.
It was amazing, and it's kind of like that expression. It's better to have loved and love lost than to never loved at all. It's like, man, it's like, oh my God, is something wrong with YouTube? Is it really say that I have 200 current viewers at once? I see these other YouTubers just smashing it, right? And I'm up here just on the struggle bus, and I'm sitting here rocking with 200 viewers. My subs go through the roof, and I'm just like, oh my God, they finally love me. My time has arrived. It's going to be like this from now on, because I did it 2 days in a row. I did it 2 days in a row, and then I was scared to talk about anything else.
Yeah, I was worried you were going to get stuck in a rut on that.
Which is exactly what they want from you.
Yeah,
but the problem is, ever since I've been eligible for Super Chat monetization, I've been nerfed or what? It's like I went from the most views ever. I think they are looking at those 2 days, and I might get punished for them. They somehow think that they're fake views or something. I hope this doesn't.
If you're just as a general principle, if you're somebody who talks regularly about news and current events, they are throttling all such channels since the start of this year, big time. I mean, just speaking for myself, my traffic is about a third of what it was at the start of the year, and I'm better off than some people because it's been pretty heavy handed.
I thought throttle was a good thing. No,
throttling is when they
slow down.
Boost your content so that you were previously getting 4,200 views per video. Suddenly you're getting 420 views per video, and it can be a very depressing effect.
But what's the opposite of throttling?
Boosting.
Huh?
Boosting.
When a video is boosted, it shows up on your For Me page and the At Home page. And by just putting it in those two locations, YouTube can increase the effectiveness of its performance in the algorithm without physically having to monkey the algorithm.
And do you think it has anything to do with me trying to get monetized?
Well, I think they will approve your monetization. They will give you a good couple of months, long enough for you to actually derive a bit of money from it, assuming
Yep.
you don't leak your own channel previous to this. And then they'll hit you with a strike and demonetize you. And after that, you'll start talking along the lines they want you to talk down rather than just doing your thing.
Which I kind of thought was happening to me a few weeks ago. And Squash, you and I talked about this, but I was getting the feeling like there was some other shoe about to drop that hasn't dropped yet, because I kept every day or two I would get some kind of copyright nonsense about some old video that was, more than a year old, some video I'd completely forgotten about, and which leads one to believe that somebody is going back and watching all of one's content and keeping score and trying to put things in one's permanent file, one might say.
You're getting pigeonholed, man. It's gonna happen. There's not a lot you can do to prevent it. Appreciate it, Joe. Cool. You the one, girl. That's my big spoon. He's like 7 foot tall. My man is 6'7" if he's an inch. But yeah, no, you're going through your own titles and your own thumbnails. And I think this is another reason why they're pushing for the words on the thumbnails, right? They want something written on your thumbnail that gets an algorithmic boost, but it also gives the AI something to read. And you will naturally put something related to your video on the thumbnail when you do it. So it gives the AI a really information dense basis by which to judge what the video might be about.
Which is kind of why I stopped putting my episode titles on the thumbnail a while back.
Well, we'll see. Only time will tell, indeed. I had a thought when you were talking about the history lesson there I'd like to bring up, if that's all right.
Sure.
Go for
And I
it.
was thinking about the Donner Party, of course, and cannibalism, right? What a fascinating topic that is. And I wonder, if I was to be eaten, which is like totally cool. If someone needs to survive or whatever, like I'm totally down with that. Go ahead, have at it. But I'm wondering, when starving to death, do certain cuts of human flesh demand a premium, much like cows? Like, just newsflash, we do have the same cuts of meat as a pig or a cow, more or less. And
Go ahead.
I was wondering if, like people, I want filet mignon, and like for people who know how to butcher a deer, or maybe they have a farm or something, they'll know where that is. They'll know how to get that. And I wonder if people are going to go for that, or are they just going to go for like the leg first because it's like right there. I don't know.
It's been said in the anthropologic studies of the subject that I've seen that when cannibalism happens, generally speaking, the parts of the person that are consumed are the parts that are the least readily identifiable as human. So you won't eat a face or a hand or a foot, but just the big cuts of meat, in other words, that you can just cut it off and pretend it's some other cut of some other animal.
Now that
Tends to be what cannibals gravitate to first if they are in the position of having to resort to it.
I mean, but also,
pig feet.
What'd you say?
I'm kind of leaning towards the pickled U feet.
I don't think that's a good scientific study, Captain, because let's face it, man, hands and feet, it's not really kind of loaded down with the meat, right? You know what I'm saying?
You'd need the right.
Well, no,
sauce.
and in one of the most famous examples, the Franklin expedition, the camps that were discovered, some years later, where cannibalism had taken place, the parts of people that they found in buckets not having been eaten were all the extremities, hands and feet, and lower arms and lower legs, in other words. So, for whatever that's worth.
That's good to know. That's good to know. Yeah, maybe they are eating the loins, I suppose.
I can say
probably
this.
they'll look just like a pork chop.
And I think it was much the same as that in the famous Chilean airplane crash.
Oh, I
So that-
Which is, I mean, those are probably the three most notorious cannibalism episodes in history, aren't they? The Franklin expedition, the Donner Party, and the Chile plane crash.
yeah.
Well, the Chile plane crash, they didn't have fire, so they had to.
That's
They
true.
actually made like beef jerky on top of that aluminum plane,
Yeah.
with no salt. So they just dried it out in the sun on the aluminum plane.
Stalingrad.
Yeah. Talk about a bad thing getting worse.
That's a historic cannibalism scenario. Stalingrad in World War II, there came a point where, there was just so many people dead, and almost all the animals had died due to airburst bombs and whatnot. There weren't even any freaking pigeons in this town.
Well, and also the famines of the 1920s during the first Soviet industrial revolution. There were reports of people having kids just to raise them for food. That's how bad the cannibalism got there.
That particular time period was an especially dark period in human history, and I mean worldwide, because effects.
Yay, communism!
But I mean, I guess not to. I don't know. Obviously, not a funny subject, right? Pretty horrible. But do you
I don't
think?
know. I guess it depends on what kind of sauce you use with it.
Well, do you think people in I mean, are they eating each other in Gaza?
They're eating each other in Haiti. Absolutely.
No, but Haiti, they're doing it because they're voodoo or something. It's different. But
In Haiti,
Oh, but when
when
you remove all other options for sustenance, you pretty much always wind up arriving at that one eventually,
yeah,
whether
Haiti
you want to or not.
Haiti
so
needs more.
they're probably eating each other in Gaza right now. I mean,
and it's
Wicked,
really
man.
easy.
Wicked.
It's really easy to say in the abstract, as a well-fed first world person, that God, no, I'd never resort to that. I'd never be that hungry, and that's horseshit. Of course you would.
I wanna
Everybody has that point they would reach.
That was a brilliant question. I really dig taking a good look at the concept of cannibalism, and at which point it becomes a viable thing.
Well, apparently the expression. So first off, Moby Dick was real. I don't know if you know that or not. There's a ship called the Essex, which was attacked by a whale, and it didn't go down like Mel, whatever the heck his name is, but a ship got attacked and sunk by a whale, and it led to this huge journey of survival.
That wasn't the only killer whale in history. There, for a period of time, there was a Roman town that was terrorized by a killer sperm whale that, for whatever reason, showed up and started sinking all of the ships that were trying to come in and out.
I didn't know that, but what was I going to say? Oh, I don't think there was cannibalism in Essex that was at least written, or I'd have to reread that. Honestly, I didn't know we were going to talk about cannibalism. But that whole thing, drawing lots and drawing the shortest straw, allegedly comes from sailors when you're sitting out in the ocean in a life raft or a life boat, like before helicopters were invented, with nothing and no help. You just draw straws to see who kills themselves. Deletes themselves.
And that's also why the custom exists of, if you find a stowaway, he gets eaten first.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that, but it's
that's why stowing away.
That actually came up on the Shackleton expedition. Perce Blackborough. He was discovered on the ship about 5 or 6 days out of port, and that's the first thing Shackleton said. He said, fine, I'll give you a job on the crew since I don't have much of a choice, but if it comes down to cannibalism, your ass is the one we're eating first.
It seems fair. It's a good way to discourage stowaways.
Yeah, it's not an unreasonable policy, I don't think.
Absolutely not. Well, I certainly hope no one's. I guess people are starving to get in Gaza. It's quite horrible, not funny at all. But I don't know. In a couple of years, I guess we'll see. Certainly, I don't know. Only time will
I'd
tell.
rather not know. I don't ever want to find out.
Pretty depressing.
That makes two of us.
I'm just saying,
moving on.
that's nothing against anybody who's been in that situation. I do have an issue with people like Dahmer. These people bother me to no end.
It's a bit much. Yeah, he took it too far.
That's terrifying. I don't agree with the practice. I wouldn't participate myself. I would think that if there was one thing that defines a person as evil, it would be devouring human flesh when not in a starving situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I don't know, evil, I guess, more
Not ready
sick
to
or
do
something.
that. We're about out of time.
Oh,
The thing
Okay.
I want him to sing.
I better talk us out, hadn't I?
Yeah, that's how that works. I appreciate it, Midlife Bro Logic. We'll be back with you in just a few very short minutes. Cap, do the thing.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you ever so much for joining us here on the Blast Radius, as you hopefully do every Sunday night, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. We sure do appreciate it when you come on by and make us a little small, trifling, insignificant part of your Sunday evening. Thank you very much indeed for Midlife Bro Logic joining us tonight. Go subscribe to his channel right now. You won't regret it. We will see you next week. Have a great day and a pleasant tomorrow and an edifying day after that. See you next time. Do not comply. Get off my lawn.
Get off my lawn.